Hi, I'm Max.
And I'm Heather from Going Batty, and we're going to show you how to make homemade mayonnaise.
Yay!
So what we do is we start with 2 eggs. Your eggs need to be room temperature. These are our eggs from our chickens. We don't refrigerate our eggs, so they're sitting on the counter, so they're already room temperature, but you crack them. All right, and then you put in a tablespoon of either vinegar or lemon juice. We don't have any lemon juice on hand right now, so we're going to use the vinegar.
Vinegar.
Okay. And then to get the salt, Max, we need a teaspoon of salt. Actually, let's start with 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, because again, you can't take salt out once you've put it in. You can always add a little more at the end. All right,
If
that's
it
good.
tastes too bland and flavorless,
You add a little more at the
add a
very
little
end.
more salt.
All right, and then we need 2 teaspoons of just regular yellow mustard. All right, so what we've done so far is we put in our 2 eggs, our salt, our vinegar, and our mustard in here. And I do mine in a food processor. I find it easier than doing it in a blender. It gets mixed up better. So you're going to just kind of buzz those together for like a minute or so until they kind of like break up and everything's all mixed together. Okay, so the next thing that we put in is our oil, and you can use whatever kind of oil you want. We use vegetable oil. We found that we don't like olive oil. It makes it taste like flowers. But if you have any other kind of oil that you like, you can use that. But you have to trickle it in slowly, and I have a little hole here. So when my son pours it in, it'll pour in slowly and go down into the bottom down here. So are you ready, Max?
Yeah, you'll probably need about 2 cups of it.
Yeah, there's 2 cups of. Okay, so we let it, once you get all the oil in, we let it kind of mix around for about a minute or 2 to whatever thickness that you want it. If you see, like, it's pretty thick there. Test it for the salt. Let it sit for a few minutes before, if it doesn't taste salty enough, just let it sit for a little bit, because then the salt get out of the mayonnaise. Don't eat the mayonnaise. Then the salt has time to kind of like break down and dissolve into there, and like test it a few minutes later, because you don't want to get it too salty, because then it's just kind of gross. So after you get it all in the jar, just put a lid on it, and then this should keep for about a week. It usually doesn't last that long in my house, but I started making mayonnaise, and now nobody in my family will let me buy it because they don't like store-bought mayonnaise anymore. And I feel like nothing goes to waste with it this way. They'll eat all of it. So, all right, so we put it in the jar. Let it sit for about maybe 5 minutes before you go to use it, so that way you can test to see if it has enough salt in it. I feel like ours has enough in it. I also find that if you use lemon juice, sometimes you have to use a little more salt than vinegar. I don't know why that is, but that's just what happens when we make it. So that's our homemade mayonnaise.